Hello, my name is John Ratzlaff. This is for FTT 104 SDI. Today is 5/25/2025. Today I'm just going to be going over a bit of a field strip, a little bit further in detailed field strip of this Remington 700 platform. And just so you're aware, this firearm is pointing in a safe direction. I'm going to go ahead and clear it. First things first, I'm going to attempt to put it on safe. I cannot put it on safe at the moment. There is no magazine. This is a blind box magazine configuration. I'm going to lift the bolt. I'm going to pull the bolt handle back and pull the bolt back. I'm going to visually inspect that there is no ammunition in the chamber, and I'm also going to physically check that there is no ammunition in that chamber. At this point in time, I'm going to ride the bolt forward, and I can place that weapon on safe. However, I'm going to put it back on fire to just relieve that spring tension for our breakdown. So first things first, before I even get started on it, just to time constraints of the video, I've done this a few different times now, and it does take a little bit longer than 8 minutes. So I will not be taking this scope off. However, if you did want to, you can very easily remove either side with a screwdriver, your scope base and scope rings, and just take this scope off. Same thing for this compensator that is also on here. You just remove this and this wind up spinning off. But first things first, let's go ahead and take this bipod off. We'll disassemble the bipod. We'll take this thing off of the front swivel stud. Set that here. I'm going to take this back over. What I want to wind up doing is I am just going to go ahead and remove the bolt now, slide this back, and I'm going to go ahead and push on the bolt catch release underneath the trigger guard. We'll just set this aside for the moment. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and fixate the scope and the barrel on my rest here, and then I'm going to go ahead and start to disassembly, removing the barreled action from our stock here. So first things first, we are going to wind up using, this is going to be actually a 5/32 Allen key. What we're doing here is we're separating the screws on the bottom here, and once these screws are released, the entire bottom metal piece and trigger guard assembly is going to go ahead and totally just come out here. I'm just going to go ahead and set this aside here for us. At this point in time too, we can actually completely remove the stock here. So remove the stock, set this aside here for us as well. I'm also not going to remove the trigger just due to time as well, but it's a pretty simple process. There's just two push pins that need to come out. Then you have to align the spring for the bolt catch release on there, and then that would actually come out. But just due to time, we're not going to wind up doing that today. Biggest thing too at this point in time, we're still having the scope, the front compensator on there, and the trigger. This is going to be disassembled to the furthest it is going to today. I can show you really quick for this bolt. We are going to wind up just separating the firing pin spring assembly and the firing pin here. There's a few different ways to do this, but this is the easiest one that I can show you. We're actually just going to push up on this little guy here, and we're going to get us some room to put another screwdriver, dime, or anything in. At this point in time, as you can kind of see here, we do have this separated, and then this actually comes undone here for us. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this out. There's all different kinds of ways to make this happen, but I am just showing you this way for simplicity. And right here we do have the bolt itself disassembled. This is going to be the furthest it's going to go today, and usually recommended unless this is all dirty or you need to change out your firing pin itself. So I'm going to put this back. we're just going to make sure that this lines back up how it needed to. So as you can see, it's lined up here. I'm just going to slowly lift up on this guy and then release, and then we're back to where it should be. I'm just going to set this aside here for a second, move this down. So we do have our bolt, we do have our barreled action with scope compensator on it. We did remove our bipod, and then we do have our stock here as well. Specialty tool that I will be using to reassemble is I will use a torque wrench in inch-pounds that is set to 65. This is just like a driver bit. You can use a screwdriver or an Allen screw, whichever one you do prefer. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. We're going to go ahead and put the stock on here. Once the stock is in place, then we can go ahead and pick up our bottom metal trigger guard assembly. You keep it together, it just makes it a lot easier, a little bit cleaner and everything else. So I'm going to start this with our driver. I'm just going to snug them up a little bit, and then once that's complete, I have the snug, then I'm actually going to wind up taking my 5/32 bit out, and I'm going to put it into our torque wrench. That is on 65 inch-pounds. We're going to go ahead and torque this down. You'll hear a click, just like that. That means you're at that set and desired setting. Hear that again, we are good. At this point, I'm just going to relocate this in our little gun vise here, and I'm going to wind up putting our bipod back on. Screw that down on that front swivel stud. And we're going to go ahead, flip this guy over. We're going to insert our bolt back into our action. Click that down. I'm going to put that on safe. It is on safe here. And then I'm going to put on fire, and that spring tension is released. That's going to be a very quick down and dirty disassembly of your Remington 700. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.